Hey everybody, welcome. I wanted to do this interview because, every week I come out with a coaching tip and concepts on how to increase your business and becoming a good operator, or, all these different tips and tricks on when it comes to real estate and even lending for that example. But it's one thing to hear from me, which I think can be enough at times. It's another thing to hear from other people. And I walked out of the conference room and I saw 3 people that were filming videos, and I thought, well, these are the best of the best at our organization. And so I wanted to steal some of their time and ask them some questions on their business, because a lot of people that watch my videos are wondering, okay, I'm at this point in my career, how do I get to the next point in my career? And I don't think there's anybody that can give more insight than those that have reached really the top level, but how they get even further in their career. And I think we have 3 really good examples of that. And so, we have Moni Wilder, we have Lauren Binder, excuse me. Ballard Binder, do you hyphenate that?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. And then James Wexler. So just some color. Between these 3 individuals, there's over 300 million in annual production. And I think that says a tremendous amount, because as you look at where really good agents tend to fall, they're nowhere even near that category. So we do have the best of the best. James, I want to start with you, if that's okay. So we've been partners and friends for a very long time. You were the #1 real estate agent multiple years in a row in Arizona. You're always in the top 10 in Arizona. Consistency, I think, is your game. Every year, you're going to be at the top. And I think it's hard for people to maintain, because real estate really ebbs and flows. Some months you have good months, some months you have bad months. But for whatever reason, every single year, you're always a $100 million plus producer. And that's individual, right? That's not a conglomerate of 5, 6, 7 people. That's you. So that's a level that very few people in this country achieve, and you do it year over year over year in good markets and in bad. From a consistency perspective, what do you think that you do that allows you to remain so consistent?
Oh, thanks. We were talking a little bit on this call. You hear the noise of it's not a good market, the interest rates are high, inventory. I don't want to say I block that out. I just make my focus on trying to control what I can do, right? I can't control the market, I can't control interest rates. So on a daily basis, I think what revenue generating activities, what money making activities I can do on a daily basis, weekly basis, monthly basis, that I know if I do that consistently, there'll be times where I catch the wave and I have really good months. And there's times where I'm doing that much or more work and I'm doing less transactions. But like you said, over a quarterly basis, a semi-annual basis, a multi-year basis, your business will be higher if you focus on those daily revenue generating activities. And for each person, it's different. When I first started, you and I, we did open houses virtually every day. Nothing got in the way of doing that. For some people, it's door knocking. It can be cold calling. What it can't be is, hey, I'm going to do open house this Saturday, and then I'm going to do door knocking, and then when you have something scheduled, oh, I've got a client, I'm not going to do that. Because what happens is you get busy and you forget, or you decide that's more important than getting back to the basics. So if you go to the gym every day, you're going to be in really good shape in 6 months, a year or 2. Those who are more talented might be in the best shape, but I can tell you, anybody who eats healthy most of the time and works out consistently will be in good shape later. You can't measure it every day, but over a year or 2 you can. So I look at my primary job is in the lead generation or lead nurturing business, and nothing gets in the way of that for me. And that's really how I focus.
But I think it's also kind of what you're saying is you've always found ways to stay busy. There was no excuse I ran into you, we met up on Sunday, I think it was, or Saturday, whatever day it was. You were coming back from an appointment and going to an appointment, and in 45 minutes we had some stuff to talk about. We met for 45, then you went back on. You're always finding ways to stay busy. I think that goes back to the open house days of, I'm working today, no matter what, right? And if something happens to come into my day where I have to address it, I'll address it where it doesn't interfere with what I already have planned, and that is the busy work. And to do the busy work. You always did a really good job of that.
We talk about it. You're arguably the most successful person in real estate in the world, certainly. And you still will find time on a Saturday, Tuesday, you're here doing this interview. And most people who are really successful, as professional athletes, musicians, people who are in great shape, are doing it consistently, and they know what activities will give them those results, and they're not letting anything get in the way of it. And I saw this thing about some professional climber who lives in their van and is one of the best in the world, but it said, am I making choices that are going to benefit my goals? And that's their mantra every day. Am I making choices today that are going to help me meet my goals or are going to get in the way of my goals? So when you start to make a choice that's away from the activities that are getting you towards your goals, that's where you have to qualify it. And I try very hard not to let anything get in the way, or making decisions, which could be the cold calling, open houses, following up with the clients, whatever it might be, to do that. And I'm telling you, if you do that consistently, you will be successful. If you let closing transactions get in the way of that, you're going to ride this up and down.
Yeah, I think many people find ways to find complacency within saying, like, I had a good month last month, or there's this grind where I also think some people feel like they get too good to where that becomes a distraction for me instead of the mindset of just sell houses. Like, no clients too good, no phone calls, too above me to make. I'm just going to do the work. And I think of any friend I know and of any business person I know, you've never been afraid to do the dirty work either. And ultimately what that leads to is more business, more success. But when something does slow down, you're just back to basics. Just go grind.
Yeah, I would think being confident to know your abilities, but be humble enough that you're willing to earn anything and that you're always one transaction away from having a tough month. So
Yeah.
be confident, know you're professional, you know you're doing the right thing, but be humble enough not to turn down business or do the grind, as you will, because there's too many agents who act like they're on $1 million listing in these shows. But if you really saw what they did on a daily basis, it wouldn't be the activities that are necessary to get through tough markets.
Lauren, when you think about it, you haven't been in real estate that long.
Yep.
What, 7 years?
10.
Is it 10?
I've been with you for 7.
Okay,
I've been
okay.
with you most
But
of
10
my
years
career.
is a decent amount of time.
Yep.
But still, when you look at 20 years plus,
Yes.
and people that, most agents, it takes time to get 100 million plus a year and maintain that. But very early in your career, you were top 1%, very early.
Yep.
And you've maintained that and improved on that. When you hear some of the things that he says, what resonates with you that you do?
So I know that the hardest thing that I've ever done in my business, and I had to do it in order to scale, was to delegate. And you can't be all things to all people. And that is something that I learned very early on. To be successful in anything that you do, you have to identify what your strengths are and lean on them, but you also have to identify what your weaknesses are and find help so that the client experience is flawless from start to finish. Because if you call it time-wasting activities. I love that, because there is a lot of time-wasting activities that occur in a transaction. If you're not delegating that out, there's no way you're going to be able to be fully present with 7 to 10 clients a month.
Can you give me, because I found that as I got busier, and you've done a great job at this too. You have a staff now, right? And your staff, it's not like they come to work and they have all these different things to do. You put them in a good box of, you do this, you do this, you do this, and just get really good at these things. I found that there's a lot of things that I wasn't very good at. What I was good at is good at selling. So I always just wanted to be in front of more people. But there's more to it than that when you talk about an operation. So what I found is that having people there to help, but that took time of comfortability to say, is it worth, do I want to spend the money to get the help, is where I think a lot of people struggle with, right? Like, do I want to spend the money to get more support and more help? And what they struggle with in that is they don't realize you got to invest in yourself to get better, to make more money. You got to invest in your business. So as an example, what are some of the things that you've done in the things that you say, I'm not so good at this? What have you put into your business to help you get better at that so you can do what you do best?
For me, it's following through. I have a lot of good ideas, and then it's the execution of those ideas, because then I get a call and I got to go do a showing, or I've got to work on something for the Redfin Rocket account, right? So I get spread out, and then it's execution. So making sure that I'm downloading with somebody, so having an assistant, having a showing agent, having a transaction coordinator. It's so easy to say, oh, well, that's $400 and it's a team deal, so I'm not going to make the higher percentage on it as I would on a self-gen, so I don't really want to pay for the transaction coordinator. You have to look at what your value is, what your price per hour is, and could you be better? Is it better for you to use your time out making new connections, getting new business, sitting in open house instead of sitting there and doing hours and hours of paperwork? Where if it's not something you enjoy, why not delegate it out? Because I guarantee you, if you, instead of sitting there and doing hours of paperwork, go and sit in open house, you make one connection.
But it's not a mechanism to be lazy. Like hiring
Not at
people
all.
to do a job,
Yeah.
if you look at that of now I freed up time to just go watch TV or
Right.
to go,
Yeah.
like it's more about freeing up time to go get more business.
That's
Well,
right.
that's what you said. Open
Yeah.
houses, more
Yep.
calls, getting in front of people. Those are the most important things, and don't let, oh, I've got to do this showing, get in the way with that. Realize
Well, and I think
the
things
money
even
making.
like, you have Kim in your office, staying in contact with past clients, right? Like there's no greater book of gold than the people that have already liked working with you. And so many people neglect that. The problem is, as you get busier working on what you're working on, you either have a huge month of showings, listings, escrows, everything's going here, but this gets forgotten. The prospecting, because prospecting isn't just new clients, prospecting is past clients. That's prospecting. And so these areas of business that we need people to help us with and understand, like, I need to put that in place so I don't have to worry about it, but I get the benefits of it. But again, going back to, for example, when, like, as you have hired your staff, it was as you saw a need that could create more revenue for you, you were willing to bet on it and spend the money on it, and it's paid off.
Anything you can do that's investing your business, that's taking time that you can either do these money-making activities, or they can, if you're not willing to do it, acknowledge that and then pay someone else to do it. I can't say enough. And if there's one thing that Jason and I were good at is we always call. We use time at open houses. We didn't just hang out on the phone. We'd call and complain to each other for a few minutes. No one's come in because that was 2009, 10, 11. But we use that time, text, call, email, reach out to somebody, set up a meeting. So make sure you're doing the money-making activities, which is talking to people, getting in front of people. And if you're not willing to do it, pay for someone who can. That's ultimately critical. And I'll just add one other thing. You talked about paying for things. A lot of agents on this call are still building their business. They don't have it. We shared someone when we first started. Right? We didn't want to take on a $2,000 a month salary. We weren't doing enough deals to pay them on commission.
We shared lunch too, because we were
shared
poor.
lunch, yeah. That's a true story. You have to tell that because it's a long ways
For
to
years.
go. We'd like walk through and find
we shared a desk,
Usually we were
food.
looking for things that the expiration date was just over and see if they would sell to
Oh,
us
God.
at 50%. Hey, this sandwich was
Isn't it
fine.
funny how if people could see the effort, like no one will ever be able to see the effort. We know the effort.
Yeah, we shared an office, we shared costs, we shared lunches. It was a struggling time after the crash, but we didn't have goals to be here. But I can tell you, we knew that if we showed up in an open house every day,
Yeah.
talked to clients, that we would be better the year after
Well,
than we were
and
the
I
year
also think we
before.
push each other. I remember I was so happy when you would get a good sale, but internally I was like, now I need to go get one. Like it's healthy competition, but also having someone's best interest in mind and saying, good for you, but now I need to go do my part too.
Find a partner, whether it's to hold each other accountable for open houses or share a cost of someone who's going to call your database if you're not willing to do it, or your past clients. But invest in your business. I think that's your point.
Moni, I think one of your strongest suits is you've gotten really good at, or just in general are really good at, your time management. You have a lot on your plate. You run a big team, you're a big producer, you have responsibilities here like you do as well, Lauren. Both of you actually have a lot on your plate. So it's not to take anything from Lauren's time management. I just know that you're really good at it. When you think about planning, because that was something I was not good at. I wasn't good at taking a minute and structuring my day, structuring my week, and I've gotten really good at it because I know how important it is, because I'll forget it. And so, but I had to discipline myself to get good at those things. Do you think that being disciplined within your time helps with your success? And if so, how do you look at that?
So I think discipline for me, and like what we're talking about here, is probably one of my biggest strengths. I have developed, and it's just been a muscle over time. I think, I was running marathons as a young girl, like the ability to just do what you need to do regardless of motivation, to uncouple me taking the action I need to do based on if I feel like it or not. So then how does that translate into real life? I calendar like crazy. I time block like crazy, and I will sit and do the thing I said I'm gonna do at the time I said I'm gonna do it almost all the time. And I've had to teach myself that I'm not gonna get the benefit of this necessarily right away. I'm not gonna see the result. It's like the feeling of going to the gym, got a few pounds to lose. You go and work out twice, stand on the scale. Oh my God, how did I gain weight? Yeah. Right, that's what happens to women. How do we gain weight? But doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what the feedback is. It doesn't matter how I feel. I know that if I just keep doing this, eventually things will start to unfold. Yeah. And one of the things I've learned coming to JMG with you, Jason, is I started here 2 years ago, believe it or not, this month. Oh, wow. It's already been 2 years. I can't even believe it. Best thing I ever did for my career, honestly. On a Bible, I say that. And the way that discipline has unfolded to opportunities, sales, my personal growth is not even close to what I was picturing at the time. So I think that's the other thing is people sometimes think, well, I'm doing these things, I should get this result. And I think what we know in our experience is you do the right things and the result might not be what you thought, but a lot of times it's even better than what you thought it was gonna be. It might not look the way you thought it was gonna look, but now it turns into something even better. Yeah. And so in my mind, I always, when those moments, and I work 7 days a week, period. It's just how I'm made. I've got that dog in me. And I won't be outworked. I'm so driven, all those things. But even I get tired. But when I'm tired, it's always you have no idea what could happen for you. Oh, why am I getting choked up? If you just one more time, make one more call or finish this task, make that thing, create the plan, make the sales, do the video, schedule the videos to do together. You have no idea what your life could be if you just overcome that feeling of, I gotta feel like it, the world needs to unfold for me in this certain way. No, just show up, be as great as you can be that day, give it your best that day, and then also, when you have to turn it off, try to turn it off for real. That's my big, now I'm I think about this and everything we're doing here in building, I think about it 24/7 to the point where now I'm having to have the discipline of shutting it off and saying, hey, for 4 hours on Sunday, don't look at your phone and be with your family. Right? Yes, because it can become.
I think once you've gotten to a point where you're seeing success and things are on the rise and you've had a level of success. For me, what pushes me is I tell myself this internally a lot. I've worked too fucking hard to not keep going. Just keep going. Right. Because I think that people look at goals if they don't hit a goal. I don't think it's the way to do it. And I think people get disappointed if they don't hit goals because I also don't work on, if someone asks me, what's my goal for 2026? If I spit out a number, I'm lying because the only thing I can control is I don't know the outcome. I just know the effort. I just know I'm gonna work really hard. I might hit this number, I might hit that number. The only thing I can control though is, am I working really hard to get there, whatever the outcome. When you start having the mindset of, I have no idea what the number's gonna be. I just know I'm gonna work really hard to get the best number that I can get.
Yeah, these really is goal setting. We're just doing it on a daily basis, right? That I know if I put in the effort day in, day out consistently, that the numbers will be better in 3 months, 6 months, a year. I don't know how much better, probably better than you think in most cases, but we know for sure if we do this on a daily basis, it will be better and I will be better as a person and more proud of myself. My family will be, and the paychecks will be better than it was if I didn't do that.
That's huge for me is as a person, I'm at a place of, I wanna show up to anything I said I'm committing to. So I said I wanted to have a real estate business 9 years ago. So I started in real estate about 9 years ago. And I wanted to be the best. And I didn't know how to do it. I didn't even know what the best looked like. But I just knew that if I gave my best effort and showed up the best way I could, that eventually it would work. And it did. And it did. And so it's the same thing with everything we're doing here together. Me and you, it's like, we don't necessarily know what we should do, but we just know, show up, try hard, ask questions. And we're in an environment, I feel, so supportive because that's what I'm seeing you do. I'm seeing you do that. When you're sitting in that conference room, it's like you're saying, it's like you might not know exactly what to do, but you know you're going to pick up the phone, you're going to make the plan, you're going to set the meeting, you're going to have the conversation, you're going to execute, you're going to inspect what you expect, and eventually something forms. And then that thing that forms, now you can start to mold it and shape it and make it better.
There's a book, you mentioned Rocket earlier. They have a isms book. One of the isms is we'll figure it out. That's like, and the ism book is like how to live like Dan Gilbert built that company. What are the things, the fundamental basics of what to do? And there's a lot of great ones in there. But one of them is we'll figure it out. Just keep working, we'll figure it out. And I love that mentality of like, sometimes you know where you want to get to, you just don't know how you're going to get there. We will figure it out. I start a lot of projects like that. Like when I decided on that account, who do I want on it? How are we going to build it? How's it going to be? How is it going to be successful? What are the things? And just start building it. And yeah, but and things take time. But as it goes on, you figure out, like with everything, you figure out how to optimize it. You figure out how to like tweak things here and there. Like when you did Open Door, that took months. And every month you got better and better, and you're still getting better. But like you got such a better handle on it now, or even Flex with Zillow. You got such a better handle on it now than you did 6 months ago, that now it's just, I got it. Right. I just need to tweak things or get better salespeople or remove salespeople. But in terms of how it operates and flows, now I got it. Because you don't know until you get into it.
I feel like you were really good at this though, Jason, or you're illustrating something I think people don't realize, which is usually that heavy lift is at the beginning, like to get something moving. And then once you can get something moving, if you can keep it moving with the optimization, the tweaking, the thoughtful, intentional changes, it'll start to gain momentum.
But here's the problem. Here's the real problem. That is the hardest part. The hardest part, it's like with anything. You're a really good writer, and when you were blogging every day for 4 years straight, building Wexzilla.com, and your intent was, because I know this will pay out for me in the long run, you were building content forever. I think most people don't even know this. But the hardest part of that every day was sitting down and starting the first sentence. But once you got going, it just flowed. That is the same reason why people aren't successful. Because they want to do these things. They want to start this project. They want to start marketing to past clients. They want to do events for their past clients. They want to start with open houses. They want to prospect through mailers. They want to do all these things. They don't take the initiative to sit down and do the busy work, because the busy work is the initiation. The start is always the hardest. It's like, and it is. Think about anything in life. What's the hardest day to go to the gym? The first day.
Yeah, there's a not famous, I'm not going to take credit, Confucius, we've heard of Confucius. The first and his most famous quote is, the hardest part of a journey is the first step.
Yeah.
So if we're talking 5,000 years, this quote, what we're talking about has been for 5,000. He said, the hardest part of any journey is the first step.
And if you look at a project, and I always go back to these projects, but like that's how you build a business. When you look at the segments of a real estate or a loan officer's business, there's different segments to help you get more revenue, to get more business, to do these things. But it all revolves around, what am I implementing in my business to do that? The steps are the project. That's the journey. Right. The projects are the journeys. And a lot of people have they know what they need to do, they just can't discipline themselves to get it started. Or they'll start it and they'll quit because they didn't see results quickly. This isn't a results quickly business. This is a results over time business. So I appreciate your guys' time.
Thank you.
I'm happy I got to sit with you guys.
Yeah, most of us do this. I know all of it because we actually take away. We don't get paid for this. We do this because we always. There's rare. I'll do a coach's corner, have a conversation with someone like that's on this group without learning something. So we're still trying to improve our business.
Yeah,
We're far from knowing everything. Thank you, Jay.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Thank you.